Why did that teacher get fired from your school? She embezzled thousands of dollars from various club funds. There were also rumors of her sleeping with students, but the administration never bothered to look into that. High school gym teacher. Apparently he showed up to a hotel room expecting to bang a 13-year-old but got busted by the cops instead. Arrested by the FBI for credit card fraud. It was a few months after the arrest when the reason why he disappeared came out in the open. Our new band teacher was a young guy, fresh out of college. His first year teaching, and he embezzled about $1,000 from the band's funds. He got arrested and his possible future career ruined for $1,000. Edit. Probably my favorite part of the story was that he went by the name MR.E. So once he was gone, the ruthless band kids referred to him as MR. Embezzlement. Explained elasticity by pulling the bra strap of a girl. Another one for having relationship with a girl from 8th grade, 14-yo. She was always drunk and drinking during class. She would leave us to cry in the bathroom. He didn't come to parent-teacher interview night. The next day, he was late for class and crashed his pickup into a brick sign outside the school. Cops showed up obviously, and allegedly he blew twice the legal limit. He called the principal a cunt as he was taken away. Dating a 16-year-old student. He was the band teacher. He also had a wife and kid. He went to jail and is now a registered hanky-panky offender. One of the elementary school teachers at the district I went to got arrested for making his class worship him like he was a cult leader. He was totally bonkers. Students laughed she ate toothpaste. Turns out she was an alcoholic trying to cover her breath. Oh boy, where to start? Elementary school nurse was fired for taking the kids' medications. HS band teacher slept with a 15-year-old. Swim coach left a hotel that he was at with his mistress drunk and killed someone with his car. My high school had like 400 students. She had fallen off the wagon and was drinking a lot to the point where it was affecting her memory. We kept doing the same lecture on density in 6th grade science for a month. Until one my classmates decided to ask another teacher about it. From there she went to rehab. If anyone wants more context, she was our homeroom and science teacher. She was very nice and married to our assistant principal, so she had a little bit more leeway. While she was able to remain sober for a while, she eventually passed away due to the effects of her addiction a few years after this. She never seemed like a bad teacher, but she was always stressed to the absolute maximum. Always felt like she was working from behind and generally struggling to keep up. You know, the traditional tail end of the functioning addict lifestyle. Affecting rather than affecting. That may have been one of the lessons I missed. Female pay teacher. She got caught sniffing a girl's underwear while she was showering. Middle school pay teacher walked into the girl's wardrobe and asked if he could watch one of them change their tampon as a joke. A co-worker teacher got fired 2 weeks in the new semester when instead of uploading a video related to his subject, he instead accidentally continued a previously paused hardcore lesbian scene on the big interactive screen. The computer he was using was slow and poopty too, so he couldn't quickly exit the video. It went on for a good 30 seconds before someone pulled the plug on the screen around the same time he lobbed the laptop about 30 feet across the class. Sending nudes to a student. My math teacher was a volunteer first responder in NY. She left school to help out during 9/11 and was fired for not showing back up for 2 weeks. Geeky AV teacher that everyone loved. Knew he was a geek and owned it. Caught in a predator sting trying to solicit underage girls. The kicker was a spring school levy was coming up. Local police conspired with the school district to hide the charges for 3 weeks until the levy was passed. Someone substituted his class for 3 weeks. Yay, everyone was both devastated and pissed. The district ended the school year early. 2 teachers. They got caught fricking in a classroom. One of my high school teachers was caught on to catch a predator. He pushed some dumb kid who hit him against a wall. He was legally blind and ended up stabbing and killing his wife. Our beloved teacher, Mr. Morn, had worked there for 29 years without incident and was one of the best teachers there. His classroom was always a laugh riot. He was the best roaster and encourages us to roast him properly. He never failed to get us motivated and a lot of us owe our career inspiration from him. He was fired because he had jokingly smacked a student on the back of his head for making a stupid comment. It was like something out of a sitcom and all of us expected it and loved it. Yet one student, who was new at the school, was culture shocked by this. He thought it was strange but hilarious. He told his mom offhandedly and his mom became the Karen. Never mind that the student was the teacher's godson. No physical contact was allowed, says the Karen. He was suspended with pay for 3 months pending investigation, then was let go because the Karen twisted the story and it blew up around the school. A year later, teacher won both the lawsuit against the school and libel case against the Karen, with her son being one of the key witnesses. We still keep in contact and roast him for getting rich over smacking kids around. He straight up didn't show up to work one Monday. Didn't call in to arrange a sub or anything. He ghosted the school for a whole week and then tried to come in the following Monday like nothing happened. We also had a 5th grade teacher overdose on meth, but I honestly don't know if she got fired or resigned. It didn't happen at school. Dating a 16-year-old female student. He was also a pay teacher. Reddit. I should clarify that he did do jail time and is on the hanky-panky offenders register. He was caught trying to solicit a child prostitute during a hanky-panky trafficking sting. He was a social studies teacher at my middle school. And the arrest made local news when I was a freshman. Really shocked the district. Edit. Because a lot of people are asking for details. This happened in San Antonio, Texas in about 2013. She wasn't enforcing detention, letting students leave early, or just signing their name for them. She was also the mom of a student. They fired her and all the students that regularly received detention rioted. Jumping on cars, flipping trash cans, they set one on fire, and pulled the fire alarm 7 times in a day. I forget how it was quelled, but it only lasted a day. My AP Chem teacher had an affair with the principal. Principal got fired too. I felt bad for her. They didn't do anything on school property, and it didn't impact her performance in the classroom. Also, the school wasn't able to find a qualified teacher to replace her halfway through the year. So we were all fricked come test time at the end of the year. Not one of us passed that AP test. I heard a rumor that my favorite teacher from 9th grade got fired when I was in 10th grade because he left his class unattended. This one is actually sort of rather sad. Had an amazing, but eccentric, math teacher who was incredibly involved with helping students. He made sure to always cover his bases, so there was nothing really creepy about him. The year I left high school, was a senior at this time. Went on to finish my GED. He was fired. Shortly after news an article that he had killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot. What had happened during this period of time was a student had come forward to the administration and accused him of sexual misconduct, both of them being males, and unfortunately there was no real way to prove a negative for the missing time outside of school hours. So they promptly let him go. Being a gay, black teacher in South Texas. Rough. He wrote a letter basically denying all of the accusations, but had come to the grim realization that at his age, his career was effectively over. So he shot himself in the head. Later the student who made the accusations came forward and said he had fabricated the entire event because he was failing his grades and angry. The whole event was quietly swept under the rug. RIP MR. Ethan. You were a good person who was cut down by other selfishness. One was such an unlikable teacher they were asked to retire. One was watching porn in class. One sent someone else's PP pics to a student's mom. One robbed a bank. I replaced one teacher. She was young and pretty and was photographed kissing one of the seniors in the parking lot. He got a female student pregnant at the same time his wife was pregnant. His wife was and still is a gym teacher at the school. He was playing his guitar for students at my elementary school. He had been warned before, but the kids enjoyed it, so he continued to play it for them anyways. One day, the assistant principal was lurking in the hallway and wandered to his classroom. She saw him playing his guitar and fired him on the spot. A whole lot of students were crying that day because he was an amazing guy. Edit. More information. This took place in a small, rural town in Georgia back in the early 2000s. He wasn't the music teacher. He just used to bring his guitar and play songs randomly on some days and the kids enjoyed it. He'd been warned multiple times by his higher-ups. Why? IDK. He was a great teacher. He thought that before the break, he could play something for us one last time during the last week of school. It just happened to be the worst possible timing. While the assistant principal was walking through the halls, he didn't come back to teach at our school when classes started again. If I recall, he got a job teaching at a different school. Had a history teacher get fired for going off syllabus and spending time on the pre-Judaic flood stories. One of maybe two reasons I'm obsessed with Mesopotamian and Anatolian Egyptian history now. My sociology teacher in high school was fired for throwing an chalkboard eraser at a sleeping student's head. He was a great teacher, and always did this in good humor. Obviously not a great idea in retrospect, but we all knew that we could get away with sleeping in his class if we didn't mind getting an eraser upside the head if he noticed. I heard he was fired a few years after I graduated high school, and that kinda bummed me out. Probably deserving of a reprimand of some sort, but not getting fired. It's not like he was a hanky-panky offender or guitar player. I still think about this all the time. The assistant principal that kicked me out school for smoking weed got arrested for picking up a prostitute, then fired. 1 Teacher got called out for having erections while watching the girls play sports. Got confronted by the principal, to whom he told it wasn't true. That it just seemed like he had erections because he has a really big PP. The principal, male, was not amused. The P.E. teacher was fired that same week. The one that fired was a substitute teacher and coach of a girls team for grade 7-9. He seemed a bit creepy, and we joked that he liked coaching the girls and teaching pace so he could watch the girls run around in their shorts. Turns out that wasn't far from the truth. His full-time job was in the medical field, where he was caught doing inappropriate things to female patients, some of whom being kids he coached and taught. And he had 2 sons in that school. This one didn't get fired, but she was at the point where she had a few classes taken from her, and if she did anything wrong, she would have been gone. Why? Well, she didn't know the subject she was teaching, and would make stuff up rather than admitting she didn't know the answer. She was always mad, and we called her Popsicle because she acted like she had a stick up her ass. But the biggest thing was that she failed 2 grade 11 classes. The whole class. Because apparently not one person, including the smartest people in the school, passed any tests. Kindergarten teacher would dig furrows into kids' arms with her long, sharp nails by basically holding their arms real tightly. She did this if she caught them misbehaving during recess. It happened to me when I was running when I shouldn't have. I think this was nearly 40 years ago. I showed the principal my arm as he was walking out one day and she was fired on the spot. I think I was 4 at the time and didn't realize exactly what I did at the time. Crazy poop. having hanky-panky with a student. More like 10. His wife wasn't happy to find out about that. Threesome with 2 guys in her English class and doing blow with a bunch of students. The art teacher at my middle school was known to be very suspicious. I've heard that he would take pictures of girls and touch girls. And adding to the fact that he called 2 girls lesbians in front of the whole class. It was just very weird. All these rumors and he got fired eventually. I can't imagine how his wife must have felt when she asked why he got fired.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.